Yes, the Trump administration is lawless, but the courts are working. This is going to be one of the most important videos that you witnessed this week if you are one of those folks who are really deeply entrenched and immersed in all of the news that's coming out of Washington, D.C., coming out of the Trump White House that got you scared, anxious, nervous, annoyed, fearful about the state of the United States, the future of the United States, and have you believing that we are truly an authoritarian nation and we are under a dictatorship, that fascism is here now, and there's nothing much you can do, and we're just under siege. The reason why this video is important is because I'm going to be letting you know that while, yes, it's true that the Trump administration is lawless, that they ignore court orders. It seems like they're steamrolling over the law. They try. They fight, they appeal, they delay, they drag their feet. It's lawless. It's a chaotic mess of an administration. That's no doubt. I am not gaslighting you. I also am not trying to sugarcoat the truth of what they're trying to do. Not at all. But I do want you to know that they do not always get away with it. And the judges are indeed forcing the Trump administration to do specific things. Like they are specifically getting people who were deported back. The courts are specifically getting funds that have been frozen unfrozen. The courts specifically are getting people returned whole, getting them assets, resources, getting reimbursement for expenses they have incurred due to Donald Trump's various executive orders, that they are forcing Pam Bondi's and the Christy Knowles, for example, to reverse memos that they sent out to people, that they are specifically actually paying the lawyers who represent the different litigants and plaintiffs in lawsuits. Like the justice system is still working, and the courts have power. I post videos about our wins, and recently I shared about the various different judges that I said there was a bunch of diverse judges that issued the opinions that I mentioned in my last roundup of legal L's for the Trump administration, wins for the people. And inevitably someone under that post said, yeah, that's great, but too bad the courts aren't paying attention. And that's not true. And that's disempowering for the judges, for the authority of the judges and their esteem as judges. So that's one of the reasons why I think it's important for me to highlight when I'm going to listen to me, the wins and the extent to which they've been actually follow the orders. It's one thing to say there's a win, but then you say win, you're like, yeah, it's a win, but they don't follow orders. So what's good as a win if they're not following it? We're already in a dictatorship, so I'm just like here to challenge that, to say that no, in true authoritarianism, people aren't protesting. People are still protesting. People are reading banned books today. Someone talked about women's body autonomy being challenged. Yes, but today, yesterday, for the next few weeks, women will be getting, and that's not going to change. Pride Month happened, lots of celebrations in true authoritarianism nations where they're trying to ban LGBTQI rights and suppress them. They wouldn't even having those things, but they have them. People are still critical of the media. People are still dragging the government officials at the town halls. They are still dragging them off the court. So things are still happening right now. I think, again, the people who are in the echo chamber, the people who are in the silos of politics, they don't step out. And if you go step out a little bit and take a step back and breathe and take a drive and go into coffee shops and go into stores, go on vacation in the United States, you're going to see people like going around like nothing's happening. And these are the people who aren't necessarily politically agnostic, but they're not the ones that's so immersed. So if you're telling them you're in a dictatorship, authoritarian, you're under a fascist regime, they're like, oh, for real, we are? Because for them, life hasn't changed. So to you, you're saying life has changed, is the end of it, but it's not. It's not. I'm not trying to gaslight you, but I just need you guys to pause, because the more that you keep trying to convince yourself and convince others that we are in a dictatorship and this is the end, essentially you're kind of helping their case. They need more people to think like you. Right now, not a lot of people think like you. So you're doing the work for them. You might tell them, yeah, it's over, it's a dictatorship, they're dragging us into it. No, it's not. So let me give you some examples really quick. I don't want this video to go too long. So here are some examples. Donald Trump issued an executive order declaring that there's only two genders and ordering the State Department and the passport office, for example, to not issue passports to transgender people. So a group of transgender people sued and they won. And you know what happened? They got their passport with the gender that they specifically wanted to have on their passport on there. That's because of a court order. And after that, subsequently, those litigants filed for class certification, and they got a class certification. That means that all trans people who want to get a passport will be able to get a passport with their gender that they identify with. That is a win. That's because of a court, and the Trump administration is abiding by it. The Trump administration tried to ship off some immigrants and migrants that were criminals off to South Sudan versus sending them back to their country of origin. Not quite sure why, that's what they did. They denied those criminals the ability to have their lawyers speak up on behalf and fight for them to not be sent to South Sudan, which is a war-torn country right now. The judge, McFadden, told the Trump administration, okay, you don't have to bring them back, but you need to give them the opportunity to have a lawyer and to defend themselves. So because of that court order, the Trump administration set up a makeshift court system in a container in Djibouti, which is a military installation the U.S. have outside of South Sudan, and they set that up because the courts ordered them to. Similarly, the Trump administration had deported a young man named Christian. That's his pseudonym for the courts, but his real name is Daniel Lizardo Camardo. And they had deported him along with the other 238 men of Venezuelan descent that they sent part of that Alien Enemies Act thing in March. He was part of a class action lawsuit of young unaccompanied minors that came before 2019, and they had a class action settlement that said that they should not be deported. So he was deported. And the judge who was reviewing that case, Stephanie Gallagher, told the Trump administration, listen here, you have to bring this kid back. So right now I'm watching, they have status update of showing to which extent they're trying to bring him back after they shipped everybody to Venezuela. And the lawyers representing Christian were just awarded $1.4 million. So the Trump administration is going to have to pay that. And they're saying, this is our updates, we're bringing him back. That's the judges, that's the courts working. The Trump administration had, Donald Trump had canceled the temporary protective status of people coming here from different countries. Kristi Noem just was racist. She just said she's wanting more people from these brown countries coming and replacing the whites. And she did it without the 60 days notice. She did it bulk. You're supposed to do it individual by individual basis. A court said at least for the people who were in the tarmac or in the airports with their stuff, having just sold their property, pulled their kids out of school, and you canceled, you have to pay them back. You have to bring them here. You have to pay for their flights and their hotels and all the expenses. Right now, our tax dollars are paying them because the court said that. So it's a narrow class of people, but the court ordered the Trump administration to reimburse those people, and they're being reimbursed right now. That's a court working. When Donald Trump issued executive orders challenging various different law firms and ordering Pam Bondi to restrict the ability for lawyers or law students or partners from the law firms where Robert Mueller and other of his, perceived enemies once worked, they sued Perkins Coie, Wilmer Hale, Jenner Block. They all sued and they won. And the lawsuit, the court said, you have to rescind the memo. I watched the memo because when they win, the parties win, the courts, the judges say, give us a status update and prove and show us that you actually abided by our court orders. I saw the court order, the memos that Pam Bondi wrote rescinding the orders, saying, ignore everything I said. That's the court did that. So those are examples of how the courts actually are working. Recently, we saw a bunch of funding restored for transportation grants that were part of Joe Biden's transportation infrastructure bill. And the Trump administration hijacked it. And recently, you saw Pennsylvania, all these various different states announcing that they got their money back. That's because a court ordered it, not because Sean Duffy spoke with John Fetterman and it was nice. No, it's because a court told them to put it back. So websites have gotten restored. They've done gender affirming care. They've hired people back. They've restored fundings, all because of courts. So there is some sense of accountability, and they win when we give up. And so the reason why I'm sharing this is so you can know that there is indeed actions. The courts do have some power. There is still some teeth to the judicial system. And so I hope that gives you more empowerment. Each one teach one. Share this video, share my account. If you want more wins like this, if you want to feel more empowered and know that we are doing something, we're pushing back. At the minimum, the courts are still doing the job and keeping us afloat.